Okay, I want to go through this question because you're going to see a few more like this, and it's just a sensor question. So it gives you this area here where it's more for diagnostic and to answer the questions that you have in front of you. So you may get questions like, you know, where should you look to find the throttle position sensor? Or you can ask you to indicate the throttle control module assembly diagram. So all that stuff, you need this information over here. And same with this one and this one. And right down to the last one where it's actually asking you for the component. So here, what we're really looking for on this screen, you can look at it the way it is split, but of course it's kind of hard to see. If I'm here and I want to see this larger, I go here down to the bottom where I can go to full screen, and it will do this for me. I can drag this around wherever I want. I can also make it bigger so I can see what I need to see. If I go to the back, it's going to take me back to wiring diagram and a block diagram, depending on what I'm looking for. But I was on the wiring diagram. If I need more information and some of the questions, it may ask you to do other things. But the up in the right corner, I can maximize or make my vehicle bigger. Over on the far side here, I have a menu where I can choose instrument cluster. And from here, I can use this here to start the vehicle. And I have a check engine light on. As you can see, it's out now. I can use this slider to start up the engine, and I can turn it off. I also have a multimeter I can use, and I have an oscilloscope. I have a diagnostic tester, which you just put there. Let's turn it off. Breakout box, you can see right here. I have a fuel pressure gauge if I want to check fuel. If my battery gets low, I have a booster. And then again, I can go back to my wiring diagram alone or back to where I was originally with the diagnosis. I also have an area here called tutorial, which will actually explain everything I'm kind of explaining now in plus more detail. I just thought I'd do a quick one with you here. Okay, so if I minimize back here again, and I go back to my last question, where it asks me to replace a component, if I find and replace the throttle position, throttle valve assembly, to do that part, you'll see down here it says drag remove part here. And if I open this box, I need to find my component. I do have ways to find that here, but for this one, I'll just show you how to do it. So if I go bigger, and the question was, it wanted me to replace my throttle position valve or throttle valve. So this is kind of procedural. You need to do it in order. You can see this glowing, how it glows when I roll over top of it. See, they glow. That just means I can service those components. See, all the connectors are there and they glow. This is my throttle valve. If I disconnect it, like so, then I can connect that again, and you can see how I took it out. I can drop it down here to my removed part, but I need to replace it. It won't allow me to replace it. If I click on it, it says replace this part. I have to say yes. It turns yellow. When it turns yellow, it means I've taken the old part and received a new one. I take my yellow component, I place it back in, I shut the switch off, and then when I go back to here now, I can check to make sure it was done correctly. If I go back to this question here, where I was earlier, and it asks me to look at something in the diagram, which pin of the engine control unit is pin 2 of the TCM. So again, I can't see that, it's pretty small. If I make it bigger, I can make this diagram much larger, as large as I need to. And then I can look at my diagram knowing that my TCM is right here, and then I have pin 15 right there. So if I can minimize this again, if I just minimize it, it's going to keep this quite large, which doesn't matter at this point. I can minimize it, answer the question, and move on. that's just it. You may have to play around a little bit to understand how this works better with all this stuff in here, but as you use it, it gets better, easier to use. That's all there is to it.